Hey everyone, so today we're going to go ahead and talk about sneaker investments, how you do it, and if it's for you. So please stay till the end because I really want to talk to you guys about if sneaker investments are for you. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into it. All right guys, so obviously you guys are here because you want to learn about sneaker investments. You see probably all the other YouTubers, sneaker shops, and just other people making a lot of money investing in sneakers. So first off, let's go over what sneaker investing really is. And before you guys, try and judge me, just to give you guys a little background, I've been into the sneaker game for about 12 years now. I have my own sneaker shop. I do YouTube videos. I've made sneaker investments myself, and I've just been around the sneaker game for a while. So just take everything with a grain of salt. Obviously this is just my opinion, but this is just kind of how I see the sneaker investment world. So first off, let's talk about sneaker investments. So what are sneaker investments? So pretty much a sneaker investment is saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead and buy up a pair of shoes, multiple pairs of shoes, and I'm gonna sit on that pair for X amount of months or until I make X amount of money on them. So for example, we can go ahead and take a shoe right out of here. So this is the Jordan 4 Topaz. So this was a shoe that originally came out not too long ago, and I believe it was selling for about $280 to $300 on release day. So if you bought these up for around $280 to $300, which is you paying market value, and you sat on them for about, say, like 6 to 8 months, you probably would have made about $50 to $80 profit per each shoe that you made. Now, sitting on a shoe for 6 to 8 months, that's, not too long. That's not too bad of a time. And to make 60 to 80 bucks, that's pretty much what sneaker investments are. It's pretty much like the stock market. You buy in, but you have a physical, tangible item that you get to hold and sit through, protect also, so that way nobody robs you or steals your investment, and you sit on them for a while, and then as the price goes up over time, as more brand new pairs become not as readily available, you get to sell them at a higher market value because they're more scarce. So it's all about supply and demand. Obviously, if you have a lot of pairs and the prices go up, then you sell them, then you make more money. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now the hard part is understanding which shoes you should invest in. Now, obviously, you have people giving you different advice, and it's really hard if you guys are beginners into the sneaker world and you don't know what shoes to invest in, you can make bad sneaker investments. So sneaker investments aren't always just an easy, profitable thing. So a couple things I want to talk to you guys about is, now we understand that, sneaker investments are just buying a brand new pair of shoes, sitting on them, just waiting until the price goes up and then selling them. That's pretty much as simple as it gets. The difficulty in sneaker investments is that it's an investment and it is not a tried and true type of thing, meaning you can make bad investments. So that's always the scary part, and because the Topaz, that was a great shoe to invest in. There's other shoes that you thought that could be good, and they just either never went up in value, or they just kind of ended up tanking because maybe Nike restocked a bunch of pairs, maybe Kanye and Adidas restocked a bunch of pairs, and so now that the market's flooded with so many pairs, the value goes down. So for example, the Yeezy Zebra was a very popular release when it first came out. It was going for about $1,000, and so I knew people who were buying those up because they thought, hey, if they're going for $1,000, if I could buy them for $9, sit on them, I could probably sell them for about $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 once it gets really dry. Meaning really dry with not that many brand new pairs. But if you guys know that sneaker release, that pair, they re-released those so many different times, and now they're still worth a good amount of money. But if you invested $1,000 per pair in hopes that you would make a couple $100, they restocked pretty fast and the price dropped like crazy, to the point they were almost going for about $300. So sneaker investments are risky. So either way, you have to make sure you're picking a good shoe that's popular, and really the only way you get to know that is understanding the sneaker market. Now, understanding sneaker market and sneaker culture is kind of hard to really describe, but pretty much you have to understand what's popular, what's in demand, and what's sought after. So what's going to be a good colorway that majority of people are going to like, not just sneakerheads, but just, you know, the general public. So obviously the black and white Dunks, if you guys know that shoe has been coined as like the shoe, like the most basic classic shoe of the year for the last year. And it's because it's simple. It's black and white, goes with everything. Nike Dunks are super popular. And so that's just kind of, it appeals to sneakerheads and non-sneakerheads all alike. And it was very popular on Instagram and different social media platforms, which kind of just makes it a great shoe to invest in. Now, obviously the price can go up and down. They just restocked recently, so prices were at like 3-ish, now they're going back down. And that's just something you also have to ride the wave for different shoes, because some shoes will restock constantly and some shoes might never restock. And that's just something you have to understand. And that's the hard part about sneaker investing, is figuring out the market, understanding what brands restock, what brands don't really restock, and if it's going to be a smart investment, and also how long you want to hold that investment. That's pretty much the basics of it. You know, I know that this was a tutorial. Pretty much all you got to do is buy the shoes when they come out. So for the tutorial part, I'll just say, hey, step one is find a shoe that is popular and that you trust, that will go up in value, or that you have faith in. Secondly, I would say also make sure it's a shoe that you kind of like. It's kind of a really hard thing to sit on a shoe that you think is super ugly and that you don't like whatsoever, because once the market kind of starts to hit this roller coaster of a ride, maybe it goes up or down, you'll probably want to sell those as soon as possible, and you're going to probably sell way too fast, and you're probably going to end up either losing money or not making as much as you probably could, just because of your own personal decisions. So typically I like to sit on a shoe that I like a little bit more rather than a shoe that I think is personally ugly. To me, that's just how I feel personally. But third, it is just buying the shoes. So now buying the shoes could be, you could buy a lot of different shoes, or the one shoe you're looking for, you could buy that on a variety of platforms. You can buy them from sneaker shops if you really feel like they're a really good investment and you don't mind paying a little bit more and paying sales tax and whatever. You can find them on OfferUp, Facebook groups, off of other Instagram resellers, or you could even buy them from StockX or GOAT. And you know, obviously with StockX, GOAT, and all those bigger platforms, you charge sales tax, unless if you live in a state that doesn't have sales tax, but you're also paying shipping and all that stuff. So normally it's better if you typically buy them at the cheapest that you can, but also if you really think it's a good investment, you're gonna wanna pay right around market, so that way you can grab as many pairs as possible. Because if you're trying to lowball on those pairs to hold, it's gonna be harder for you to, you know, buy the amount of pairs that you might wanna buy. And also, by the time you're done trying to, you know, haggle around and get all the pairs, it's going to be a lot less pairs on the market. So if you really think like a shoe is going to be a hot shoe, it's going to go up really quick, you're probably going to want to pay market value for them, or maybe just slightly under, just because you need the shoes. And then once you have the shoes, you pretty much sit on them for X amount of time, or if you have a certain percentage that you want to make on that shoe. So for some people, they're like, hey, this shoe is going for $100. I'm going to go ahead and sell it once it hits $150. Once it hits $150, that's my margin. I want to make $50 per shoe. That's great. Now, obviously, every shoe's not $100. Most shoes are going to be around $200, $300, $400, depending on how hyped it is. So, you know, maybe you get a shoe for $300 and you're like, all right, once this hits $400, I'm okay with those margins and I want to sell them. You could be more conservative, or you can have bigger numbers. The one thing you do need to know is that shoes do kind of have a ceiling. They do have a cap. So, meaning shoes will go up in value over time, but they will pretty much reach this certain point where they're not really gonna go up anymore, and they've kind of peaked at the value that they go for. Now, that does take a couple years sometimes for a shoe to peak, but you never know what's gonna happen. And usually I like to be more on the conservative side. I'm not gonna wait for a shoe to hit that peak number. I'm gonna try and sell that shoe right around, you know, that middle tier where it's like, oh, it's about to peak, but not yet. And that there's still enough hype around the shoe that I'm able to sell it. Because the hard thing is, once a shoe peaks at its highest point, yes, you've made a lot of money, but now the difficulty is selling that shoe. because you know, if you sell on the apps, you're going to take percentages, so you're not making as much. If you sell to sneaker stores, maybe they might pay market if it is a really hype shoe, but most often they're probably going to pay a little under. I mean, it's okay, you're still making money, but I just have to let you know that once a shoe kind of reaches a certain point, it does become harder to sell it. And that's the other thing that people don't really talk about. It's like, wow, I made all this money and now I have to go sell it. And they don't really show you the selling part of it. Either they have a sneaker store, so they sell it through the store, or they have connections with, you know, the owners of sneaker shops, like bigger sneaker shops, that will just cash them out, or they just put them up on consignment, and it takes time for that to sell. So it's not just an automatic payday. You're like, oh wow, this shoe went up for $100, I'm so rich. But now you have to find a way to turn your shoes back into cash, so that way you can make the money that you wanted to make. So you know, I just want to give you this insight, because it's not just like, oh, invest in the shoe, invest in the shoe. Like that's cool and it works. And yeah, if you buy 1 or 2 shoes, you know, that's however you want to do it. So overall, that's pretty much the step-to-step guide on how to buy shoes. I would say it's very helpful if you guys have a brand new pair, or buy a shoe that you know, because right when they release, you do want to make sure that the shoes are authentic, obviously, because it sucks to sit on a shoe for 6 months and then find out that you bought a pair of fakes, and because then you just pretty much wasted your time and your money, and it just does not feel good. So make sure you learn how to authenticate the pair that you are trying to buy. Research, look online, buy, you know, hopefully you could buy a pair from someone that literally just got them from Sneakers or Foot Locker or something, so that way you can have a real pair in hand. Take that pair with you whenever you go do a meetup, so that way you can inspect pairs, make sure that they look exactly the same, so that way you have a legit check pair. Now, this is the second part of the video that I do want to talk about, so hopefully you guys are still here hanging with me, but I want to ask the question, are sneaker investments for you? So that is probably the question that I want to really address, because sneaker investments aren't for everyone. Meaning, you have to look at a couple things. And like I said, take this with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. You can do whatever you want. But in my perspective, this is like sneaker investments are usually best for people who have money to spare. So if you're younger and you don't really have that much money, I mean, to you, maybe you feel like you have a lot of money. You're saying, oh, I got $2,000, I got $5,000. Like, I have money to do sneaker investments. Honestly, for myself, if you don't really have an extra $10,000 just sitting on the side that you don't really need or touch, like, sneaker investments probably aren't for you. Like I said, that's just my opinion. There are certain circumstances where that might be for you, but like I said, it's just my perspective. If you're a sneaker reseller and you're trying to get into the game and you're trying to figure all that out, sneaker investments, they're good, but you could probably make a lot more money using your money to buy and flip shoes consistently, like quick flips, meaning you buy a shoe for 100, you're gonna sell it for 150. And you're just gonna constantly keep flipping, you know, looking on OfferUp, Instagram to find deals, buy those shoes and flip them, buy shoes for retail, flip them, because if all your money's tied into the sneaker investments, you can't buy other shoes to flip. You're just sitting on shoes, you know, and if you don't have a job and you don't have steady income, like, you need to make that money, so you gotta, you know, keep flipping shoes in order for you to make money. So if you're investing in shoes and you're hoping, oh man, I hope this shoe goes up in a month, it might, but like, you don't want to take that risk. I'd rather you invest your money into shoes that you just quick flip and constantly make, you know, 30, 20, 40, $50 per pair of shoes, because you could probably flip like, you know, maybe 10 to 20 pairs of shoes a month, and you're making, you know, maybe $1,000 or something like that. And that's going to be more money that you make probably investing in sneakers. And so I don't really have like a certain number that's all for you guys. I just said 10,000 off to the side, and that's what I mean. Like, you have 10,000 off to the side, meaning you don't really touch that money, but the other $10,000, say you had 20,000, the other 10,000, you can constantly use that to keep buying and flipping shoes. So that's not, to me, that's not a bad, you know, scenario, because you get to buy and flip, so you're still making money, and then you're hoping that your investment goes up over time, which then you are still making money, and that's going to be the best of both worlds. But if you're just only investing in sneakers and not really doing anything else, then it becomes a little bit more risky, because, and also you're maybe making more money than you would a month, possibly, but also say you make a bad investment, you're losing money, you're gonna break even, or something like that, and now you've wasted a whole month and you haven't made a single dime. So that's why for me, I always think the grind of buying and flipping is always going to be better, because you normally will make more money, unless if you start sneaker investing in bulk and that's just your only thing that you're doing. Say you're not a sneaker reseller, maybe you are a, average Joe, you have a job, you work, and you just have a couple, extra dollars. You want to diversify your portfolio, you want to kind of, get your feet wet in the sneaker game. Like, hey, that's totally fine. Like I said, you could still make more money flipping shoes, but that is more time consuming. Now, sneaker investing is a little less time consuming. You do put in a lot of time up front grabbing the pairs, and then you wait for a long time not having to do anything, which is kind of nice. And then once the pairs go up in value, you do have to sell those pairs. Now, I would suggest that strategy if you do have a normal paying job, if you have steady income, because then you get to pay your bills, do whatever you need to do, and you're still investing in sneakers off to the side. It all depends on your situation and your financials. Obviously, if for me, like I said, I'm more the route of go hustle, go flip some shoes, because you're probably going to make a lot more money flipping shoes than you are investing in sneakers, because not every shoe goes up, $100 per pair of sneakers in like a month. Most shoes will kind of slowly, gradually over time, go up in value. Like Jordan 1s might take a whole year for them to go up to the percentage that you want, or go up, $50, $60 to $100 that you want. And maybe your money would have been better spent somewhere else. You have to be smart with your money. Just because you like sneakers doesn't mean sneaker investing is just for you because you need to do it because everyone else is telling you to do it. Make up your mind, do what you want to do. It's your money. Just be smart with it. That's why I'm making this video. I just want you guys to really weigh just really think about the decisions that you're making with your money, because once it's stuck in an investment, it's hard to always get that money out without losing it, or, without, trying to break even. And so it's all about profit. It's a business. It is what it is. And that's why I wanted to make this video for you guys. I'll throw in one more tip, and this is my personal tip, right? So, for me personally, I like to invest in sneakers that are a little bit cheaper. So if a shoe's maybe going for all the Nike Dunks are going for about 100, and when they release, they go for like 180. So if it's a really good colorway and it's not going for too much, that's a shoe I would probably want to invest in, especially given the track record of all Nike Dunks, at least for right now. Obviously, if you guys are watching this and this video is a year, 2, 3 years old, the market probably changed. Maybe Nike Dunks are in, maybe they're not, I don't know. But as of today, 2022, it is popular. And so that's a good shoe to invest in, because the price point is lower, and the range that it's potentially going up to. Because if you could buy a Nike Dunk for 150, and on average Nike Dunks pretty much go around like 2 to 250 for a good colorway, that's a pretty safe bet, and you're buying in at a lower cost. Now, for me, that's what I like. I like lower cost buy-ins to make, maybe 40 or 50 bucks, because if you're spending $400 to still only make 40, 50 bucks, you're not going to make that much money. Because I could buy, if you have $1,000 and you could buy 10 pairs of shoes for $100 each and make, 40 bucks per pair. But now say you buy 2 shoes that are worth $500 each, you use up your 1,000, and you're hoping that they maybe go up for 100 bucks each. So now you're making 200 versus the other pair that would have made you $500. So I hope that kind of makes sense, because you do want to just be smart, because the amount of pairs that you can buy also means like the amount of money you can make per pair, and it's just math pretty much. So those are kind of just my 2 cents about like sneaker investing, like how to sneaker invest. It's pretty simple, I would think so. Of course, the hard part is finding the pairs and selling the pairs, but also if sneaker investing is for you, because I just don't want you to think, oh, like someone told me to invest in the Nike Dunk Low Blacks, and so I'm going to use all my money and just invest in that stuff. So that's pretty much it. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, comment down below. If you guys found this video helpful or somewhat enlightening, or made you just think a little bit more about, the way that you spend your money investing in sneakers, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys want more content. We do make content in the sneaker shop sneaker shows, do all that good stuff. So subscribe to the channel, check out some of my past videos. We do a lot, we're trying to do tutorials. We have different kind of, you know, things that we just want to help you guys with. So with all that being said, stay holy, stay blessed, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.